This is the Ecommerce Braintrust, a podcast about building momentum online for established consumer brands. Join our hosts and their expert guests for high-level conversations about e-commerce strategies, trends, and innovations. Access our Braintrust and boost your brand's e-commerce potential.
Hello and welcome back to the Ecommerce Braintrust podcast. I am your host, Kiri Masters, and I want you to think back to your most recent horrific customer service experience. I'm sure you don't have to think back too far in recent history. You probably have a visit to the DMV in there, or wherever you get your driver's license renewed and car registration taken care of. Customs and immigration when you're traveling, going through the border. Any government body, let's be honest, is not really known for efficiency or great customer service. We had Black Friday recently. Maybe you had a customer service experience that was subpar there, going to the store. And for me, it wasn't all that recent, but I had a pretty horrific customer service experience the last time I had to go to the post office to mail out my tax forms to the IRS. And of course, it was the last possible day that I could file. And so half of the city was jammed into the post office along with me trying to mail off tax documents at the last minute. So all of these horrific customer service experiences, to me, there's a few common threads bringing those together, but two that really stand out to me with customer experience is not being staffed properly. So there just aren't enough customer service people around, or store associates or officers, or whoever the people are that you're dealing with. There is just not enough of them to process the crowd. And the second part is the people involved on the other end of the desk aren't knowledgeable about the product or the process or the service or how things actually work. And so trying to find which line in the post office to actually line up in to first get my envelope, and then I had to get in a different line to go pay for it. No one knew what was going on. The people sort of trying to control the crowd had no idea what was going on. So those two issues combined just result in a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, and a bad customer experience. And in the retail setting, of course, there's a difference between going into a store and shopping online, because often with online you can search for things, and sometimes in the stores you might find an associate, but they may not know what they're talking about. The online equivalent there is that there's some kind of policy that you're looking for from a retailer or a brand, and you can't find it, or you want to know when your size is going to be back in stock or something like that. There's still lots of fine searchability issues with websites even today. So the guest on the show today has developed technology that really aims to prevent those poor customer service experiences online dealing with retailers, and that is through AI and bots. So I had Ravi Raj from Passage.ai come on the show. We recorded this interview a couple of months ago when I was at shop.org in Las Vegas, and great conversation because I was certainly coming in fresh around what is the benefit of including AI in your customer service proposal for online retail specifically. I thought, everyone's had a experience with the chatbot online at some point now, probably. And initially, those experiences may not have been that great. Ravi refers to those as the first generation of chatbots, and now we're really more in the second generation of chatbots. So the experience is a little more intuitive and a superior experience. But the reason why we're talking about this today is now that the technology has matured and it really does, you can really provide someone with a great experience. It means that retailers and brands are able to offer a lot more holistic service around the clock to every customer that comes to their site, no matter if they're coming at 2 a.m. on a Saturday or they're coming at 4 p.m. on a Thursday. AI is infinitely scalable and is able to act certainly as a first line of customer service, if not getting to much more sophisticated types of interactions where the chatbot can actually promote loyalty and provide product recommendations and things like that. So this was a really great, I think a really good introduction to everyone about what the possibilities are with chat and AI. I think there's still so many different places that AI could go within an online shopping context. But this was very mind-opening to me to think about what kind of technology is available right now that's being used by big retailers like Coles is one of Passage.ai's customers. But Ravi also makes the point later on in the interview that mid-cap kind of brands and retailers also benefit a lot from this technology just because you're able to implement it and have 24/7 customer service, which as a mid-sized company is not usually something that you can afford to do right off the bat. So I hope you find this conversation as insightful as I did and that it opens your perspective into what's possible with AI and chat today, what might be coming down the pipe in the future. And hopefully we can all together start working against those horrific customer service experiences. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so I'm here with Ravi Raj from Passage AI and we're at Shop Talk 2018. So thank you for coming on the podcast today, Ravi.
Thank you, Kiri.
So tell us briefly what Passage AI does.
So Passage AI is a conversational AI platform. So what we do is we build chatbots for customers, especially in retail where customer service, conversational commerce is pretty important. This piece of AI technology is really, really important for retailers. And we have customers like Coles and others who have started using our platform. They've launched it. They've seen fairly good success with it. And we're now hoping to get to sort of the next level in terms of serving customers.
So a use case would be on a retailer's website, a customer has an inquiry about shipping time. So the chatbot would be answering that question.
Exactly. Things like shipping times, tracking the status of an order, getting help with, finding the right product. Things like, finding a store close by, things, also if, you have like deals and offers to be able to get them via the chatbot.
Right. So it's like the initial customer service, but then also ongoing loyalty kind of conversations as well.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So customer service is usually what triggers the usage of the chatbot.
Yep.
But once you do that on an ongoing basis, things like loyalty, getting deals and offers, finding the right product, those kind of things.
Right. Okay. So we're at shop.org this year and looking at the list of vendors and exhibitors, I'm seeing so much around AI. And so tell us why that is. Like, why is there so much movement and so much talk about AI? Obviously, you've dedicated many years to building this technology, but why are we having a big moment with AI right now?
Right. So it feels like AI, has sort of come of age over the last few years. It's like revolutionizing many industries. You take the auto industry, for example, right? They're saying very soon pretty much every single car is going to be a self-driving car, right? And there are many other industries like, even things like, cures for diseases and discovery of drugs are going to be driven by AI. So AI has become almost like a piece of technology that is going to be inherent in every business, every industry, every enterprise, right? So in that sense, retail, it's not surprising that suddenly retailers are starting to see the importance of AI. And the applications are, could be like what we help with is things like, customer service, conversational commerce, and so on. Could also be things like recommendation engines, even search is now being driven by AI.
Right.
So most things have some kind of AI element to it.
Yeah. So it's what you're saying is like it's always kind of existed beneath the surface, but now we're seeing it more emerge in a more visible way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a more visible way, because with more practical applications,
Right.
as opposed to things that are more academic in nature.
Got it. Yeah. Great. So a lot of people's experiences with chatbots might be less than optimal. And when chatbots first came out, maybe people interacted with them, they were a little bit more clunky and didn't understand what you were saying. I mean, I still have problems getting my Alexa device to understand what I say. So it's not perfect, but why is the technology now different to, let's say, 5 years ago?
Yeah. I think the first generation of chatbots, they didn't really have good NLP or natural language understanding and processing. So they were somewhat canned and robotic.
Right.
You could only ask things a certain way.
Yep.
If you said something, slightly different, it would not understand it. In terms of speech, if you had even the slightest bit of accent or a dialect,
Yeah.
as pretty much everybody does,
Right.
it would not understand it.
Yeah.
But now advancements in both speech recognition and more importantly, natural language processing, a lot of new techniques have come up in the world of NLU and NLP that have really revolutionized the whole space. Now chatbots, we consider ourselves kind of the second generation
Right.
of chatbots. We're sort of an AI first company.
Yep.
For us, the AI part is more important than the actual chatbot part itself, in the sense truly understanding what you're saying and to find the right response to your question. That is actually, for us, the most important thing. So that's why you're seeing kind of the game changing in the space, and consumers now are starting to use it. They're not getting frustrated. They're actually benefiting, and they're getting more loyal to the brand that they're interacting with.
That's a great point, actually. So around brand loyalty, so all the use cases that you talked about previously around customer service and loyalty and things like that, has there been any research or studies to show that use of chatbots increases loyalty or has an effect on it somehow?
I don't know about public studies, but we've seen it with our customers. So when they have their end consumers interacting with their brand via chatbot, they start to see improved conversions, like more repeat usage
Really?
of the site and so on, because now they're, it's like a conversation they're having on a regular basis with the customer that drives the customer to engage with the brand more frequently.
And is that partly driven by the AI is always there, whereas the customer service rep has to go home at the end of the day, so it's more immediate and there's no delay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the fact that there's instant gratification.
Right.
When the customer has a question, regardless of time of the day, to be able to get an accurate and relevant response to the question. So I'll give you a simple example, right? So in a number of sites, that don't have this AI technology, if you wanted to find out what the refund policy is, and you go to the site, we're in Vegas, so West Coast time zone.
Yeah.
So if you go there at 2:01 p.m., right, it says come back at 5 a.m. Pacific to get the answer to your question.
Right.
You shouldn't have to wait 10 hours to find out what the refund policy is.
Got it.
Instead, a bot powered by AI can not just tell you what the refund policy is, it can be smart enough to know that it's the product you bought last week, which is eligible for a return, and it can actually send you a shipping label.
Got it.
So that's a much more delightful experience than having to wait 10 hours.
Yes, totally. And are we at the point now where the AI will recognize individual customers' preferences and start feeding back recommendations and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not focused on that part. That's another application of AI.
Right.
Like being able to understand your preferences, your tastes and so on, and being able to send you the right recommendations, the right deals that improves your loyalty towards the brand.
Got it. So you work with, it sounds like, larger retailers, and that might be your bread and butter. Tell us what kind of place AI chatbots have with more mid-market size brands and retailers.
Yeah, and I would think the application and the use case is much more relevant to the to mid-market because smaller brands, smaller e-commerce sites may not be able to afford 24/7 customer service. So using AI to service the customer might be much more relevant to mid-market customers.
Right.
And we do have mid-market customers as well, but I just feel like, over time you'll start to see, mid-market kind of driving the whole switch to AI.
Yeah.
Because of what I mentioned.
That makes total sense. So does Passage AI integrate, what kind of integrations do you have with e-commerce stores right now?
So we do have integrations with a number of e-commerce platforms. So if you're on Shopify and so on, you can fairly easily set up, it's a few lines of JavaScript to set up the chat experience.
Yep.
And then depending on where your knowledge base of frequently asked questions is, you can pull that in using our console, our bot building console. So it's really easy to integrate within Magento, Shopify, platforms of that nature.
Wow, that's super. And so looking out into the next 5 years, let's say, what do you think the future looks like for chatbots, both in a retail context and maybe some more exciting stuff like at the immigration line and at airports and at the DMV and solving all these horrific customer service experiences that we have to deal with. But let's start with retail first.
Yeah, I think the holy grail in general in the world of AI is to get to 100% accuracy.
What are we at now as a point of reference, do you think?
So for us specifically, what customers and analysts have quoted us at 95% accuracy.
Okay.
But we don't want to kind of stop there, right? We want to get to 100% accuracy where the bot can act just like a human would, right? So that is one of the advancements that we think will happen in the space. The second is bots and humans kind of coexisting, and interacting fairly well with each other, right? So I've always felt that like machines don't have or cannot have intuition or emotions and things like that, right? So those are things that humans are pretty strong at.
Yep.
So
or weaken, depending on how you think about it.
Exactly. Yeah, but by and large, right? So if there is a particular customer service question or any kind of application that requires some of those aspects of where humans tend to excel, they can help the customer, and things that are more repetitive in nature, right? Like I mentioned, the refund policy, right?
Yeah.
The refund policy, there's only one way to answer the refund policy of a website.
Right.
You shouldn't have to use a human to respond to the customer's question on that.
Yeah.
So this combination of, like AI-powered bots and live agents coexisting and working together to service the customer can lead to a superior experience and revenue for the enterprise.
Yep.
Because the live agents, their time is now freed up to focus on more meaningful things, things that add more value to the enterprise.
Right.
In terms of your question, in the DMV and immigration lines, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a large portion of questions, the type of issues that come up or the questions that people have can easily be answered by a bot. I can easily see a kiosk at the DMV where you go ask frequently asked questions like how long will it take for me to get my driver's license once I pass the test, right?
Right.
And so those kind of things I can easily see AI helping with.
Yeah, for sure. So where can people learn more about Passage AI and what type of brand or retailer is best suited to working with you?
Yeah, so they can learn more on our site, passage.ai. We have a bot on the site that was built using our own platform.
Yep.
And so they can interact with the bot to learn more about our service. And in terms of the type of retailer, as I mentioned, mid-market retailers, large retailers, even mom and pops can benefit from an AI-based conversational interface like the platform we have.
Yep. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.